So, can you talk about how you first came to know the Hobbit novel and your reaction when you found out you'd be playing the dragon to end all dragons?
Yeah. Well, my dad read it to me when I was a young and 6 or 7 because I went away to school at 8. So that's how I know that roughly. And he's an actor, and he brought the whole book to life. It was the first book I really had in my imagination, I guess, as a child. So he sowed the seed really, and then cut to a few years later, and I auditioned for Peter via taping in London, and Dan Hubbard was like, the casting director said, don't do any movement. It's all right. And I said, no, no, I need to move. But no, no, they just want the voice. And I went, I want to do some movement. It's the dragon. It's Smaug. You know, he went, no, no, no. They just all they need on the taping is your voice. I said, well, I kind of practiced it with movement, so I did some movement. He went, that was quite good. So when I met Peter, I found out that I got it. It was very strange. I met him for 3 other roles, and one of which I do play the necromancer. And he was very sweet. He was really complimentary about what I could offer the film. And I said, look, I'm really flattered by this attention, but really all I want to do is play Smaug. He went, oh no, that's all right. You did a terrific audition, and so yeah, that's we're going to get you to do that if it all works out. That's great. I was like, what? You're not really? You're not just going to get a very famous old rich voice to do it. You want to use my voice and my oh yeah, no, completely. I said, well, I'm really keen on doing motion capture because I think it's got to be embodied. I don't want to just do something to animation and do something in a blind spot and not really know how it's going to manifest. I want to lead a little bit of the creative process to culture and idea is physicality around the voice. I was like, oh, we could definitely do that, but you could also play a live action hero and like a few different characters and stuff. And so I went, okay, but have I really got the dragon? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then nothing happened for a long time, and then I found out properly. I think it was just after I'd finished Frankenstein, so I think that might have sealed the deal. I don't know, but that was proof, I guess, that I could roll around and do some physical stuff. And yeah, and that's kind of the genesis of it. And then the voice and everything really came from those first sessions in the mocap stage, which was really how the vocal quality you see in the film came about. And also a lot of the animation was built off the dynamic that I gave him in those moments. And then the storyboards filled out, and I came back in to do more voice and more dialogue. But great process, and all with Peter because most of the others you see on the poster are, they've worked nearly 3 years to get 3 films, and I did it all in about a week with Peter, rather than a lot of them who had to endure being with a whole team of people around them because of prosthetics and hair and makeup and all the usual things of filming a fantasy film like The Hobbit, and he had to get to them through a bullhorn and the voice of God, as they called it on set. So I was really lucky. I was very, very spoilt. Very easy ride compared to theirs.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. What was it like for you to travel to New Zealand and work with this cast of characters?
Uh, well, the first time I travelled to New Zealand, I was really excited about it because I really wanted to get involved and lost in the landscape, and I did. I finished my work early, so I had a bit of time. It was a riot. It was an absolute riot, and I really, really loved being in New Zealand afterwards. I'd always wanted to. James McAvoy's a really dear friend of mine. When he did Tumnus down here for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, he said, "Oh, you're going to fall in love with it," because he knew I was an outdoorsy type like him, and I really did. I went walking and did everything I said. Swam in the glacial lake as well, and went up. Peter organised a helicopter ride, which was, I think, probably the most extraordinary experience of my life. We landed on the top of a glacier. I was in jogging pants, t-shirt, and a pair of trainers on the top of a glacier, inaccessible to humans by foot or climb. Well, you'd have to be an amazing climber. There's no real reason to just get to that glacier. It's not part of any kind of triumph or bit of mountaineering. So we're just sort of on this very pristine, unspoilt glacier, hovering on a helicopter. It lands, and I get out and I just danced, on the roof of the world on a glacier in my t-shirt and trainers and jogging pants. It was incredible. So yeah, and I've got a deep, deep, deep affection for the country, and it's what it has to offer.
The film has the iconic scene of you
Mm.
and Bilbo's encounter with
Yeah.
Bilbo's encounter with you. What are your thoughts on that sequence, and can you talk about what Martin Freeman brings to his performance as Bilbo in this moment?
He does in a way. He does. He sort of he brings his kind of mod attitude to it, which I think is really good. He's got the essence of what Bilbo becomes in the book, which is a little bit cocky. He's a little bit sure of himself before the fact. I mean, he's earned courage through hurling himself as an unwilling participant in the first story into this sort of evolution as somebody who's actually got a little bit of courage now and is swinging it about a bit with a bit of attitude. Yeah, no, he's brilliant. He's really brilliant. He's very nuanced, and he brings a flavour of authenticity to it, which is great. Because in amongst all the fantasy and adventure, you need a core that's kind of got a believable amount of empathizable humanness about him. And you know, he represents the audience. He represents those called upon to do great things and act on their courage and heart and will in times of dire need and stress. And I think he's great at that. It's a really lovely evolution. And God bless their makeup department. They've made him look about 15, and the man's pushing, 55, as we all know. And yeah, so it was nice to play an old, hoary, bad-breathed, far-breathing dragon and lord it over him, but him still get the upper hand. That's kind of what our relationship's like in real life. I brush my teeth more often than Smaug does, though. But yeah, apart from bad oral hygiene, the other differences, we've worked together before. We didn't really work together on this. That was the thing. It was peculiar in that sense. I mean, he was a bit of fluff on the carpet of the room I did the motion capture in. He's got a bit more character than that. And it was a shame. That was a shame. But that's the nature of doing this kind of a film. You can't necessarily be opposite your fellow actor, which is a shame because I always learn from working with Martin, and he from me. I'd